Bonjour.
Okay.
Nice.
Merhaba.
5 languages, 5 days. Y'all think I won't? You're wrong. So in the past week, I took not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 language classes. You can go ahead, leave your condolences for my brain cells in the comments, just in advance. Out of these 5 languages, 4 of them were languages that I either haven't spoken or used in a very long time, or there were languages that I've never spoken or used at all. Regarding language study, I am, let's say, a very monogamous gal. I'm a serial linguistic monogamous. Now in my private life, kidding. So I'll focus on one language for months. It's all that I think about. I eat, sleep, drink, think this language, and then all of a sudden I just get very burnt out and I switch to another and repeat the cycle. But I decided to shake things up recently. I'm an Aries, that's my way, that's my manner. I don't know, I thought, I'm the type of gal that's always told people that I don't like to study multiple languages, I don't like to mix them. It's like peas, carrots, picky 2-year-old. That's me, no mixing. But I also thought, when is the last time that I did that? Do I still feel that way? Do I even remember what that experience is like? It's like I didn't even remember why I had that philosophy or rule for myself anymore. So you know what? I decided to break it. I sat myself down at my desk, determined, headed to my favorite language learning platform, italki, booked myself 5 classes in 5 different languages in 5 days, and I assembled my unstoppable team of tutors. It's like the fucking Avengers or some shit. First up, we got Abdenour from Algeria for French. We got Arda from Turkey for, Turkish. We got Thiago from São Paulo, Brazil for Portuguese. We got Ritesh from India for American Sign Language. And we got Barbara from Germany for, unsurprisingly, German. So in these 5 days, I took my brain all over the globe. Now that don't mean that my brain kept up, mind you, but I took it there. But before we get started, I would like to say that this video would not have been possible without italki. So if you don't know what italki is, buckle up, sweetheart. italki is a platform where you can connect with not only private language tutors and one-on-one lessons, but also with the entire global language learning community. Y'all know I am a longtime lover of italki. I've been taking classes on there since 2015, I believe. I was also an English tutor on italki for 3 years, so believe me, I know what I'm talking about. I would describe myself as a very laid-back learner. I don't always make a strict study plan. I like to just go with the flow, and italki is a really, really big part of that. All you have to do is look up a tutor, find a good time to take the lesson, and book it, period. No strings attached. And you pay per lesson, so there's no commitment, no subscriptions, no sneaky auto payments that come up at the end of the month right when you have to pay your phone bill and then make you unable to pay your phone bill because you now don't have enough money. Speaking from personal experience. And with italki, I've never been in a situation where I can't find the tutor. There are tutors in over 190 countries teaching over 150 languages, even less commonly spoken ones like Scots or Quechua or Brazilian Sign Language. And because they're online classes, think about it, people can teach you anytime from anywhere in the world, wherever they are and wherever you are. Lickety split. And even if you're not paying for or taking lessons, you can still practice for free. Yes, free with the italki community tab. It's really kind of like a forum. You can post questions, quiz polls, you can participate in challenges. It's also a really cool way to meet fellow learners and potential language tutors. Think about it. So, sweetheart, if you're gonna sign up for italki, the time is now, because from time to time they're coming out with coupons and awards to help you get started. You can also click the link down in the description box for sign up and take your language learning to the next level. End scene. Back to the video.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, ça va? So day 1 was French. I would say I was feeling very, very intimidated. I understand practically all grammar. I think that I just lack a lot of vocabulary and speaking confidence because I haven't used it literally since high school. Anybody else who took 4 years of international baccalaureate French in high school will know that shit was traumatizing. We talked a lot about languages themselves. He was multilingual too, which impressed me. We talked about my YouTube channel because he apparently found it even before we had our lessons, so we love a tutor that does his research.
J'ai visité votre chaîne YouTube, j'ai fait une petite
Oui,
recherche.
tu l'as
J'ai
tu
vu
l'as
que
trouvé.
vous avez 72 000, c'est ça, abonnés?
Oui, 72. Mais je suis surprise que tu as trouvé ma chaîne. Je t'ai dit que...
Oui,
que
vous m'avez dit, donc j'ai fait
suis-
une petite recherche comme ça. Après, moi aussi, je suis intéressé par les gens qui s'intéressent aux langues étrangères. Donc, j'ai essayé de comprendre votre concept avec les langues étrangères. Et du coup, moi aussi, parce que j'ai appris aussi l'allemand et j'ai vu que vous mettez l'accent un petit peu sur l'allemand. Ich habe Deutsch 4 Jahre gelernt in der Gymnasium.
Oh, sehr gut. Est-ce qu'il y a beaucoup de opportunités de parler l'allemand en France?
Non, en fait, moi j'ai appris l'allemand quand j'étais au lycée. Et le problème, c'est que je vis dans une région là où on parle que l'arabe. Comment vous maintenez un petit peu votre niveau dans les différentes langues? Vous parlez l'anglais, vous parlez l'espagnol, vous parlez l'allemand, vous parlez le français?
L'anglais, c'est ma langue maternelle,
Bah,
donc
c'est-
je
c'est-
peux
ouais,
le
la
maintenir.
maternelle.
Mais avec l'espagnol, mon petit ami est mexicain. Donc j'ai beaucoup d'opportunités de parler avec sa famille.
Ah, j'ai vu déjà une vidéo, vous étiez avec un Mexicain déjà. J'ai vu la vidéo. C'est un quelqu'un qui porte des lunettes.
Oui, c'est mon petit ami. Je crois qu'avec cette connexion familiale, je peux le maintenir. Like reception-wise, I feel like I was not struggling to understand him at all. My problem, you ask, was producing. I feel like since I haven't spoken it in such a long time, like not only have I forgotten a lot of words, I just have lost that confidence. I think that, I really was not expressing myself to my full potential for like fear of making mistakes. And I know that I talk all the time about, oh, you shouldn't be scared to make mistakes. Sometimes that shit even gets the best of me. I'm not invincible. I'm human. I have feelings. When I did make mistakes, I was making mostly like silly mistakes, like il pleurait instead of like il pleuvait, talking about the weather. Mais il pleurait quand j'étais là et je sais pas, il avait l'air.
Il pleuvait.
Pleuvait.
Ah oui, pleurer, c'est pareil.
Now, because I am just coming out of my year-long love affair with German, I found myself thinking in German like majorly. The sheer number of Azols and ja that came out of my mouth was like earth-shattering. Oui, also, yeah. Yeah, also. Je crois que, also. So thank you, Abdenour, for not looking at me weird for that. In summation, it was a good lesson. But it could have been better. I know that I can do better, but hey, not bad for, a traumatized former French student that hasn't spoken it in 4 years. Next. I don't know, I have certain reservations about using ASL on my channel because I don't want to come off like I'm a clout fishing like Kiri. So I've been working with my ASL tutor Elysse for around 2 years, not consistently. I mostly was working with him when I was still taking ASL classes like here at my university, and like I still needed, that supplemental signing practice outside of the classroom. But still, I feel super comfortable with him, so I had good hope that the lesson was going to go well, even if like I forgot a lot of signs. And I was right, it went like suspiciously well. I was misusing some signs, like I remember signing same instead of both. The most interesting thing about the forgetting curve in signed languages is that it's like not as strong, or it's a lot slower. I swear to God, with the spoken languages, like the structure and the words, they just escape my brain so easily. I'm not sure of the science on why that is, but with signed languages, like in contrast, I think that, because it's muscle memory, it's a lot more permanent and like resistant to forgetfulness. I had quite a few problems understanding at times, like Elysse. I think he remembered me at like a much higher level, like I used to be a couple years ago, and I don't think he might have taken into account that I haven't been practicing and that I might have forgotten a lot since then. So I did have to ask him to like repeat stuff or slow it down a couple times. Or when I was understanding enough to get like the basic concept, what I would do is I would ask like a more simple follow-up question based off of like what crumbs I could piece together, which I think that's a good method for when you don't understand something, because it allows you to like regain a little bit of control and like bring, you know, the conversation back down to your level. You know, at one point he was talking about like a health problem in his family, so he was sounding like a really long story, and I didn't get every single thing, but from what I did understand, you know, I just asked the simple follow-up question like, but is it serious? And in doing that, you know, I can stay on topic, but also like bring the reins back in so that I can keep the control. You know, that allows me to keep asking like smaller follow-up questions until I kind of get the big picture of what he was saying. You know, which is better than him sounding like this whole long story and then me at the end just being like, oh yeah, could you repeat that? I think a lot of deaf people, if you came up to them and asked them to repeat the entire story that they just told, they'd be like, no, train gone.
Hoje tá fazendo sol, tá calor aqui, então legal.
I felt nervous enough with French, but Portuguese, this was the day that I really started to feel very nervous. Not only did I have that anxiety of not having spoken it for a year, but there's also always like the anxiety of mixing it with Spanish. Portuguese. So, what happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. I took actually 2 Portuguese lessons last week, but I had to take a second one because I found out that the first one, I didn't even record it. So I think in the first one, I definitely did get the chance to like get out my general nervousness. Now, in the second one, we talked a lot about religion because it was the first day of Passover, and also family, religion, family, related topics. Ooh.
Domingo vai ter o feriado de Páscoa, então...
Mas qual Páscoa? No português eu acho que não tem tradução diferente para Easter e para Passover. Passover é o feriado judeu. Começa hoje, é um feriado de 7 dias. E você não é religioso?
Eu não tenho religião, então... minha família celebra a Páscoa, minha família é cristã, então eles celebram...
Tudo depende do pecado e da pena. Eu acho que tem... A gente não quer sempre levar esse pecado e pena por todos os lados, mas é uma parte central. Eu acho que é por isso as pessoas em geral não querem ser parte disso. E não culpo elas, mas como é a sua mãe?
Super descolada, ela é muito inteligente, sabe? Quantos filhos a sua mãe tem?
11.
Você tem 10 irmãos?
Sim.
E você se dá bem com todos?
Não. É que, por exemplo, eu sou mais jovem e por isso eu tenho irmãos que têm 40 anos e basicamente poderiam ser os meus pais. Teoricamente, com essa idade. Então, a gente tem ideologias muito diferentes, políticas.
I think the second one went a lot better. However, Portuguese still persevered. Atrocious, abominable, offensive. I also discovered that I can't say the word Jew in Portuguese for the life of me.
Do judeu, judia. Não fui criada judeu? Judio ou judeu?
Eu não fui criada como judia.
Como judia. Judio.
And that's not one of those things I can just push to the side. I will always need this word because I will always be a Jew. Who would have thought the judia is the most... Oh wait, I just did it. Judia. Oh, I did it again. Who would have thought that the word judia or judeu is the most difficult for me in Portuguese? I don't know. As nervous as I get though, with like Brazilian Portuguese in particular, it's always like nice coming back to it because Brazilians in general are so just like open and nice and relaxed and encouraging and motivating. I think most of the time, even if you speak like a really basic or even like bad Portuguese, Brazilians are gonna be like, caramba, mano, tu fala muito bem. I think most of the time they're just happy that somebody remembers that they don't speak Spanish in Brazil. But I digress. I forgot how much I love speaking Portuguese. Portuguese, sweetheart, even though this was just an experiment, I'm coming back for you, I promise. I promise.
Hallo Elysse. Na,
Ironically enough, this is where shit started to unravel. Theoretically, out of all of these languages, German is the one that I should feel most comfortable in, right? I think the language traffic in my brain on this day like really started to pile up. We talked mostly about sign language. I think she had a lot of questions about like my experience learning sign language.
Taub ist, glaube ich, not so politically correct.
All die hörende Leute hier sagen, dass deaf is a bad word, aber die taube Leute sagen nicht so, es ist nur schlecht, wenn du denkst, dass taub sein ist etwas Schlechtes.
Ja,
das ist ein sehr kompliziertes
mit Schwarzen auch. Ich kenne Leute, die sind schwarz und die sagen, ja, ich bin schwarz, aber wir sagen,
auch mit Jüde. Alle Leute denken
farbig.
Aber also wegen Rassentrennung gibt es verschiedene Zeichen, die nur schwarze Leute benutzen und ja, das ist sehr interessant. Ich sollte dir ein paar Videos schicken. Ja, also es gibt ganz viel weiß nicht, interessante Eigenschaften darin. Also zum Beispiel mit dem Gesicht, du musst auch, vielleicht wenn du eine fette Person beschreibst, musst du Mund machen. Das ist interessant. Und es ist nicht beleidigend, es ist nur, weiß nicht, ihrer Weg.
Das wusste ich nicht, okay. Gibt es auch Vergangenheit? Also sind das andere Wörter oder macht ihr einfach ein Zeichen und dann weiß man, okay, alles, was ich jetzt sage, findet in der Vergangenheit statt?
Es ist egal wie im Chinesischen, wo du also die Periode beschreibst, also vielleicht gestern. Okay. Und dann machst du die Zeichen und man versteht das im Kontext.
I was scrambling for words constantly, like words that I either forgot or words that I didn't know in the first place. And when I couldn't find the expression, I was oftentimes resorting to the English term because she is fluent in English.
Dass sie nicht qualified war. Ja, es gab eine requirement, wie kann ich das sagen?
That's usually a very big no-no for me. What I like to do when I don't remember the word in the language is I like to explain myself and then get the word that way. But I don't know, my shit was fried at this point. And at one point, Barbara even called my ass out. She was like, heute bist du so unsicher. And I was like, don't talk about it, okay?
Indische Gebärdensprache ist sehr ähnlich mit britische. Oh mein Gott.
Du fühlst dich heute sehr unsicher. Ich merke so, du fühlst dich heute unsicher, aber du sprichst sei einfach selbstbewusst. Fühl dich gut, fühl dich...
You don't know what I've been through this week. It was still productive though. It was, sign language is a topic that I've never talked about in German before. So it was, to be fair to myself, it was a new kind of domain. It was constructive. I do love breaking into like new territory in my languages.
Merhaba.
Merhaba. Nasılsın?
İyiyim, sen nasılsın?
So this is the biggest one, I would say. Turkish is my newest language. I've been studying it seriously for maybe a month. It's the one that I definitely speak the least of. Why I even decided to take a speaking lesson in Turkish, I cannot answer this question. I knew that I wasn't going to be able to have an actual conversation in Turkish. I kind of just wanted to get my words out and practice my pronunciation, use some phrases that I've learned with the tutor. But Elysse, if you weren't going to be able to hold a conversation in Turkish, what language were you going to be leaning on most of the time? English? No. No. You know me better than that. You know that I do not like making things that easy on myself. So the way that I've been learning Turkish mostly has been a method called laddering. Laddering is when you learn a language through another language that you already know very well. So, German. So to maintain that consistency on italki, I looked for Turkish native speakers that live in Germany. I don't know if you know this, but there are a ton of Turks in Germany, so that there's a shit ton of Turks that are also fluent in German, which I'm fluent in. See where I'm going with this? Boom, laddering. So it was really I took 1.5 German lessons this week because I was mostly speaking German. But I don't know, man. This was, I flopped. I flopped very hard in this lesson. I was just like, I literally ran out of shit to say within 19 seconds.
Merhaba.
Merhaba, nasılsın?
İyiyim, sen nasılsın?
Gerginim.
Nasıl gidiyor? Wie geht's?
Wie geht's? Ja, können wir auch Deutsch auch. Ja, iyiyim. Ben de iyiyim. Teşekkürler. Ich kann mich vorstellen, zum Beispiel. Tamam, benim adım Elysse. Ben 22 yaşındayım. Ben 22 yaşındayım. Ben bir öğrenciyim. Öğrenciyim.
Yumuşak ye.
Çok zor.
Neden Türkçe öğreniyorsunuz?
Neden Türkçe öğreniyorum? Bilmiyorum. Türkçe çok güzel.
Daha önce Türkiye'ye geldiniz mi?
Hayır.
He was a great tutor. He was very kind. I could tell he knows a lot about Turkish. Obviously, it's his native language. But I think my laddering intention kind of flopped because I think, he lives in Turkey currently. And I think maybe he hadn't spoken German in a long time. So he did, I think, have trouble sometimes explaining things to me, which is not his fault. Out of that, he did a great job. I learned a decent amount of new phrases. I learned the word çekmek, which is apparently a word in Turkish that means so many different things that it can't even be translated into German or English.
Hobileriniz ne?
Hobileriniz ne?
Fotoğraf çekmek?
Evet. Wie sagt man, dass etwas mir gefällt? Also, ich mag das oder das gefällt mir.
Hoşuna gitmek. Örneğin kutu. Bu kutu benim hoşuma gitti.
Fotoğraf benim hoşuma gidiyor.
Evet, fotoğraf çekmek benim hoşuma gidiyor.
Çekmek. Videos machen.
Video çekmek.
Video çekmek. Çekmek ist machen?
Hayır, çekmek machen değil. Es gibt keine
Übersetzung.
für çekmek.
Okay.
Auf Deutsch oder Englisch.
So I'm very excited to explore this checkmate business. It was a struggle, but we came through. Laddering is some serious shit. So even though I flopped, I think I enjoyed myself. It was cool to do this because it's literally the earliest I've ever taken a speaking lesson in a language. I've never felt like confident enough to even get out a few phrases and stuff within a month of learning a language. It was the perfect way to end a very, very chaotic week. It was the most chaotic day of all. And that's how it went, taking 5 classes in 5 languages in 5 days. But it was fun, and I think, I've really gotten the inspiration to study multiple languages at a time again. Sometimes I just want to jump around, and I think that I should be more flexible to that. So we'll see. So if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, even hit that little bell notification thing if you want to get really crazy with it. Let me know if I should do more videos like this. I was thinking of also making one where I take 5 classes in the same language in 5 days. Believe it or not, that was the original idea of the video before I decided to go batshit insane. Take care, happy late Passover, Easter, Ramadan, whatever you celebrate, or if you don't celebrate anything at all, happy Sunday. Bis bald, à la prochaine, à demais, görüşürüz, and bye.